This video is a hot take on disagreements, so give it a listen and let me know what you think. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's Ptony, your friendly Catholic vlogger. All right, let's start here. What kinds of things can we expect to find in just about any given disagreement? Well, of course, we're going to have at least two different people and two different positions. My position, position A, and the other person's position is position B. I'm a narcissist, so I gave myself the first one. Now, I'm talking about the sort of disagreement where I very much am convinced that my position is right, which makes the other person's position wrong, which makes my goal to be able to convince that person of my position. And of course, a lot of times I think it's safe to assume that the other person has the very same goal, right? Their goal instinctively is going to be to convince me that I'm wrong and to admit that their position is right. The problem is that those goals are mutually exclusive. At least one of us is going to end up frustrated. And probably both of us. Frustration is something that happens when an expectation or a desire or a goal that we have doesn't become a reality, right? If my goal is to convince the other person and their goal is to convince me, we're not both getting what we want out of this conversation. That's just not going to happen. So forget those goals. That's my solution to this. Let's find new goals to come into this disagreement with. What's something that I want that I can ask the other person for? One thing that wouldn't be the same as the other person agreeing with me, but that I very much would like, is if the other person showed some genuine curiosity in trying to understand my position. Not for the sake of tearing it down, but just for the sake of understanding why I believe what I believe better. Wouldn't that be nice? Does that sound attractive? To me, it sounds very attractive. Of course, that's still outside of my control. I can't control whether or not this other person is going to be interested in my position, because that's their decision to make. What I can control is if I'm interested in the other person's position. And you know, that doesn't come naturally to me, but if I think about it, that's something that I can give to the other person without compromising myself and compromising my beliefs. I can be interested in why they believe what they believe without abandoning my own position. You know, I can keep my own principles and still explore theirs. So in short, my goal in a disagreement is not to convince the other person to believe what I believe, because I'm going to get frustrated more likely than not. It's not to get the other person to be interested in my position even, because that's outside of my control, and I don't like to set up goals in my life that are outside of my control. My goal is to actually learn about the other person's position. Not in a way that compromises my own, but in a way that I can genuinely learn, how does this person think? What values does this person bring into the table? Why does this person believe what they believe? This is all really abstract at this point, and I apologize for that. But I highly recommend this because I have used this in my own life. Like, I've noticed that if I walk into a disagreement and I'm not able to muster in myself an interest in the other person's position, then I can guarantee to myself that that conversation is going to go badly. So, as at least a first step of growth in my own life, if I cannot bring myself to take the other person's position seriously, I tell myself, hey, maybe this isn't the conversation for me to have, and I walk out. But of course, even better, if I notice that I'm not interested in the other person's position at all, if I can foster that interest in myself, I find that those are some of the best conversations that I have ever had with people. Where we don't necessarily walk away agreeing with each other on everything. But I learn a lot. And I think the people that I talk to, when I'm able to just on my own side foster this interest, I think that the people I talk to also learn things from those conversations. They become something constructive. They become something where all of a sudden, the person I'm talking to is able to see that the values that they're bringing to the table are important to me. And I'm not dismissing them. I want to explore them, and I want to figure out how we can incorporate these into whatever issue is at hand. How can we get a lot of difficult values that sometimes seem at first glance to contradict each other, and get them to harmonize and get them all on the table as best as possible. So this is a work in progress in my life. I'm thinking about doing a series of videos on life issues. I'm pro-life. I'm currently reading a pro-choice book. And I want to do a series of videos kind of walking through the different chapters of this book. Not in a vein of trying to prove this author wrong every chapter, although I do obviously disagree with a lot of the things he's saying, but in the vein of trying to understand why he writes what he writes. Where do these things come from? That might be the goal of this series. I like to ponder the idea of constructive disagreement a lot. I'll probably talk about that more in the future, but for now, thank you so much for watching. I forgot my bucket with balloons, but I want to thank, I have 4 new patrons. Thank you guys so much. Special shout out to Alexis, to Christopher, to Maddie, and to Max. Y'all are wonderful and keep me going. Here's a couple links, suggested video, please subscribe, it means a lot. And if you really like me a lot, then check me out on Patreon. That's all I have. God bless and ciao.